Well, our football talk today is brought to us by Lorain County Community College. Lorain County Community College, your classes, your future. Register now for summer and fall classes. You can learn more at loraineccc.edu. That is 3 C's for County Community College. Check them out, loraineccc.edu.
Very smart. Very smart to go to community college, especially if you come from a family that doesn't have a ton of money, because community college, you get a solid education. It's way more affordable than most colleges that are overpriced. You get your 2-year degree, and then, now there's some careers you can get into with a 2-year degree. Some careers you don't have to go to college. Not everybody's meant to go to college.
Yep.
It depends what you want to do. But so if you want to go to college, go to community college for 2 years. In most cases, your credits will transfer over to the 4-year school. Now you're only paying outrageous money for 2 years instead of 4. So shout out to LCCC. Okay, so your question is,
yes, after all the moves this offseason, on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball, looking at this Browns roster in totality, heading into 2023, do you expect the Browns offense or the Browns defense to be the better unit next season?
Tyvis, start us off. What do you got?
Actually, this is a really tough question. You know, I go back. Rick Nuggets hilarious. I go back and forth on it because there has been a lot of key additions, but I think ultimately it just depends on Deshaun Watson for the offense. I mean, they've already shown that they have everything it takes to go. I mean, they were doing well. They was pretty successful with Jacoby Brissett under center. But it also comes down to Deshaun, and it comes down to the play calling with Stefanski. On the defensive side of the ball, it's it's moving parts because it's more. They got some people in there that they got to get the chemistry down. You know, you got 2 new D tackles, you got a new DN that these guys, none of them have ever played together except for Zadarius and Dalvin Tomlinson have played together in Minnesota. So it's going to take a while for them to learn how to play off of each other. Like when you get a new guy in there, you don't know how he plays in game. You think you know, but when you get in the game, you know, people tend to go off script. You know, I had a guy by the name that I played with by the name of Joey Bosa that, you know, on the playbook is designed for him to go this and do this. But Joey's a football player. He's going to do whatever he takes, and it was up to me to make Joey right. So with that being said.
Is it true that Joey is not the sharpest tool in the shed?
No comment. What I will say is, no, Joey is smart. What I would say is,
he has football intelligence.
Listen, let me tell my story.
Yeah, go ahead.
With that being said, I think the offense will be the stronger point of this because at the end of the day, if all else fails, Nick Chubb is the saving grace. Nick Chubb can still get things done. So I think I'm more comfortable with the offense. Kevin Stefanski is the head coach. He's an offensive-minded guy. He's actually really good when he's locked in to what he's supposed to do. So I'm going to get a slight edge to the offense.
Here's how I'm going to break this down, Bull. In the beginning, when practice starts, the defense will be light years ahead of the offense. So, you know, Myles, Garrett, and them dudes up front, they only got a couple of, you know, assignments. One of them is get after the quarterback. And Jim Schwartz is going to have those types of deals where he's going to have guys moving around. I think they're going to be much improved inside. I think it's going to be harder for the Browns. If you look at it, the offense versus defense in practice, you'll see this a little bit more when camp starts. Defense is not going to be giving up points. You're going to hear beat writers talk about how just formidable and big and massive the guys are up front and how the offense is struggling a bit. But as the season goes on and as you get into your preseason games, you'll start to see the offense ramp up a little bit. There'll still be complaints about what Kevin Stefanski is running. You'll hear the comments, well, is this what he's running or he don't want to show too much? The receivers got to get on the same page. But I will say when the season gets here and those lights come on, the guys in the unit are going to be much better, and I think better overall is the offense. And the reason I think the offense is going to be better than the defense is because at their peak, the offense just has more talent. Amari Cooper is a bona fide number one. You got a bona fide dominant offensive line when it comes to, you know, the middle of your line, especially with Pochich, Joe Bitonio, and Teller. You got Nick Chubb, who you still can run the ball, David Njoku, and you got a bunch of receivers that now give you anything you want to run, from intermediate routes to short game to West Coast to deep routes. After a while, they're going to get acclimated to Deshaun Watson, and to be honest, Deshaun Watson, at his peak, probably is the best player on the team. And we're hoping we see peak Deshaun Watson, because if it is peak Deshaun Watson, no one has said this, but he's the best person on the team. And that's hard to say when you got Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb, and we've never said our quarterback was the best player. I think it's potential for your quarterback to be the best player on your team finally.
I think in a way, and I agree, it's a clean sweep with the offense. In a way, at least I think if I'm honest with myself, I'll admit this, and maybe you guys feel the same way. It better be the offense. Yes, so I'm picking the offense because, first of all, the offense was, even with Jacoby Brissett, the offense last year was way better than the defense. Mm-hmm. The defense was trash last year. Now they played better later in the season, but overall it was trash. We know they were trash up front. They couldn't stop the run. They were embarrassingly bad against the run. Now we all expect the defense to be better because they've added a lot of talent up front. Mm. However, it's a lot of new faces, and you still got to learn how to play together. Yep. The offense, all of their key players, except for Elijah Moore, were here last year, right? I mean, you draft who's the kid they drafted in the third round? Cedric Tillman. So he'll be in the mix, but I don't know how much of a role he's going to play early in the season. I think he'll have a role, but they got a lot of receivers, so I'm not expecting him to be a massive part of the offense, at least not off the jump. He wasn't a first-round pick. Yeah. So, to me, the only big part of the offense in the beginning of the year that wasn't here last year is Elijah Moore. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, right? All the backs are the same. The offensive line's the same. You just hope they're healthy. The tight end group is basically the same. So, you got more chemistry there. Now, you've also you take off the Deshaun Watson distraction last year that was hovering over this entire team and played a role for him, played a role for this entire team. We've said it a million times. The whole season comes down to Deshaun Watson. If he plays like an all-pro, like he did in Houston, then the Browns will be a Super Bowl contender this year. If he plays like a slappy, like he did last year, the Browns will not even make the playoffs this year. And then if he's somewhere in between, then maybe they make the playoffs, who knows. But I think we're all hoping, and I believe that it's more likely than not that he will play at least like a Pro Bowler, if not an All-Pro caliber level. I mean, All-Pro's hard. Yeah. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Joe Burrow. Yeah. There's only one. There's one, and Josh Allen. There's only one All-Pro.
That's kind of cheap.
But if he plays anywhere, if he plays at the same level as those guys or close to it, then the Browns have a chance to be a Super Bowl contender. And if he does, then their offense can be special. I think in the end, you say, okay, does either unit have a chance to be a top 5 unit? I think the offense is more likely than the defense to be a top 5 unit because even though I like the defensive line better, there's still a lot of show me because they haven't played together. Yeah. I still have a lot of question marks at linebacker. Mm-hmm. And as much as I think the secondary is talented, they didn't play great last year. They got to play better. Yeah. So I like the defense. I think it's going to be good, but I think the offense can be special. And ultimately, that's why I'm going with the offense.
I mean, when you look at it, when you put it in those terms, I mean, there's really no weakness on offense. I think the only spot that may be questionable is left tackle. And if this offense goes, if Jed Wills has a good season, then everything will be fine. I think everybody will be calm with the offense and what they do, as long as the play calling is right. But at the linebacker position on defense, I mean, obviously it's concerning to me because they're all coming off of injuries. Right. And I'm like,
and none of them are proven very good players.
And they don't get me wrong, they've played with these people. So a lot of them they've been linebackers here, so they've played with the team, but they might not move the exact same. It might be something, they might have to get reacclimated to this new defense as well. And on top of that, it's a whole new defensive scheme that the whole defense has to learn.
As great a coach as Jim Schwartz is, there's more to learn on defense than there is on offense.
Now, don't get me wrong, he's a coach is very simple. It's go get the quarterback and y'all play coverage. It's simple, but it's still a lot of communication that these guys have to learn. It's a lot of stuff, the chemistry, all that stuff. It all has to come together. So, G was saying that at the beginning of the season, it's going to seem like the defense is better. I'm not necessarily sure about that because we don't know how well these guys communicate. Obviously, communication was a big problem in the secondary last year.
No doubt.
So
Huge.
they have to be extremely better at talking to each other this season, which was something that they had to learn to begin with. And I think probably about after the bye week, everything should be clicking. Everybody should be on the same page. You got some games under your belt. You spoke in the same language. You've seen how guys play, so it will be better. But as far as the offense goes, there is the same offense. They might be installing some new stuff because you got Deshaun in there. Yeah, they better be.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, these guys all play with each other. They've all have caught passes with Deshaun, practice with Deshaun.
They know the language.
They know the language.
Right.
So it's to me, it's not a lot of adjusting that the offense has to do.
And if you think about it, if you break it down to 4 groups, let's say Browns passing game, Browns running game, Browns run defense, Browns pass defense. Mm-hmm. The surest thing going into the season is the Browns running game, right?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that fair?
Yeah.
And that's on offense. So, anyway, go ahead, Mikey. What do you got?
Well, you said that the Browns defense has more to learn than the offense. And I think, theoretically speaking, you are right. But G's mentioned it, and I think we all agree the Browns offense is going to look significantly different this year than it has in the past. How much do you think these guys that's on the offensive side of the ball are going to have to learn, maybe not new words and communication systems, but an entire new philosophy on how they want to play offensively?
Well, see, that's the thing. We don't know exactly what it is. I mean, Kevin Stefanski has always been big on being a balanced team. So it's not like he's going to completely abandon the run game. Does he have to pass the ball more? Yes, you got more weapons. So, yes, you might have to come out in more 11 personnel, maybe even a 10 personnel, which would basically lead them to being in the spread. But a lot of these guys played college football. A lot of them played in the spread, so they know what that is. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference as far as learning it because at the end of the day, it's still the same concepts. It's still the same route concepts.
Right.
It's still the same pass blocking and stuff like that. So I don't think it's that big of an adjustment that we'll see them struggle to grasp.
Well, I look at the offensive line, and last year I looked at just the offensive line play in general. There's sometimes when you got a scrambling quarterback where it gives you this thing where you're blocking your guy and then you see him out of the corner of your eye moving around. And as an offensive lineman, you have a tendency to just start watching like it's a game. You forget that you have a man that you're supposed to be blocking right now. And it takes a lot, there's more holding penalties because you're holding your blocks longer. You're trying to give them that extra second. There's more clipping because guys are disengaging. You're still trying to block them. And then he cuts this way and the defensive lineman cuts into you. You hit him in the back. There's so many different things it takes for you as a lineman to get it acclimated to. And sometimes it's just better to let him go. Sometimes it's better to let that defensive lineman go and not hold him because you have to count on your quarterback one-on-one. He's not going to, like what with the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes and the way he plays, you rarely see holding penalties. You rarely see clipping penalties. And it's so difficult to do because it's crazy. I see the new white.
Yeah, did you see that?
I like that. I see what y'all
trying
doing.
Something new over there.
Okay, I see.
But to G's point, it would be like, I will explain this to you how they explained it to me on punt return. So like the punt returner is this. As on the punt return unit, if you're blocking for the returner, you want to make a funnel for him. You want to funnel your block, okay? So if the return is coming down the middle, you want to funnel your guy out of the middle so the returner can come down. It's the same way with the quarterback in the pocket. You have to tell your offensive lineman, listen, we're protecting him in the pocket. So stop everything that comes inside the pocket. If he goes out of the funnel and goes out of the pocket, he's on his own. Now you can try to make a block if you want to. We don't really want you to just get in the way. We want you to get in his way, but don't really engage. If he leaves the pocket, it's not on you, it's on the quarterback. Same thing with punt return. If he leaves out of that funnel and he goes outside, it's on him. He's making his own play. So that's how you have to eliminate some of those calls, and that's just something that they got to get used to. Last year, they tried to be the hero and try to make that block, and ultimately it was a holding call, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Now that they're playing with him and understand, like, hey, listen, I got the pocket for you. I'm going to try to keep it clean. If you get flushed out the pocket and you try to do your own thing, you on your own.
Right. And the Browns' offensive line, let's face it, is not used to it because the Browns have never had an athlete at quarterback.
Correct.
Never.
It's 1, 2, 3, get rid of the ball.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ball gone.
I think we had a washed up RG3 for 8 seconds.
Oh, wow, I forgot about
Remember that?
Oh, my
but
God.
And he wasn't even an athlete.
Didn't they pay him a lot of money?
No, I don't think they paid him a lot. I think
he was brought in as a straight-up starter, too.
Yeah.
We had Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, for a cup of coffee.
He's not an athlete like Deshaun Watson.
Well, he can run.
His speed, his man speed has been 87 to 89 for about 4, 5, 6
I don't know why they think Tyrod is an athlete.
Tyrod, you always say Tyrod can go.
When he was here, he was Tyrod.
I think that's how you say it correctly. I think.
Good gracious. And here's the thing, too. You brought up about the offensive line and covering and grabbing people. The biggest part of what the offense is, those teams, and let me see who does it the best, who run the scramble drill the best. There's a lot of guys who just.
I'll tell you who. It used to be Houston when Deshaun was there.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
How many times he scramble around and throw it up? Aaron Rodgers on Hail Marys.
He was
stuff like that.
And the receivers after the.
I hate to credit him, but Ben Roethlisberger.
He was
not a great athlete.
Oh, yeah,
Play blows up. Ben's being pulled to the ground. He heaves it up.
Wide. I'm like, who has him?
Yeah.
And then what happens is the scramble route, people just start running around.
That's right.
And it's just eye contact. It's like.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You need
Come
the
on
chemistry,
now. You know what
right?
I want? Go.
The chemistry. You got to have that chemistry. The receivers got to feel that. Like that's part of the reason Travis Kelce and Mahomes are so great together, right? I mean, obviously they're both incredibly talented, but Kelce knows when Mahomes starts scrambling, he's got to find a way to get open. He gets open.
And it's almost like, and he throws it with anticipation too.
Yeah.
Like Kelce will be supposed to go to this zone. He sees there's somebody in that zone. Mahomes is scrambling. He'll come right back across green, and Mahomes will throw it when he ain't even he's not even looking for the ball. But as soon as you turn around and
it's the simple rules. If you got a deep route, you convert it to short. If you got a short route, you convert it to deep. Why? Because typically a DB, and we all do it, you motor down after a while. It's like if he's running a fade ball, if the ball ain't coming after 20 yards, it's
like I did my job.
He ain't about to throw the ball, so you start motoring down. If he stops and comes back, now you got to try to pick it back up, and then it's vice versa. If he's running a drag route, you look back and the ball is not there. You start motoring down, and boom, he takes off up the field. Now you got to reaccelerate, and sometimes our start and stops is not that good.
Had the Browns ever had a quarterback that was good at scramble drill?
No,
not that I can think of.
They had Jeff Garcia for a cup of coffee.
Jeff Garcia.
But these blasts from the past, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel was great at the scramble drill in college.
Johnny Manziel
Johnny Manziel's best.
In college, he was objectively very good at that. In the pros, he was horrendous, but in college, he was good.
Johnny Manziel's best play was him faking like he was talking to Kyle Shanahan on the sideline and taking off up the field, but it got called back.
Yeah, I forgot about that play. That's a good move.
Man, that guy,
he did throw 2 nice balls to Travis Benjamin against the Tennessee Titans at home.
Yeah.
And like he did it, but other than that, it was a wrap. Other than that,
he
we
was
had
the
much.
worst.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Anyway, so we're all in agreement on the offense. By the way, one thing we didn't discuss that I expect also, I think we're all expecting the offense to be better. We're all expecting the defense to be better. I think the special teams, which has been absolute trash, the Browns have had like the worst special teams for years. I'm expecting a massive upgrade at special teams.
It better be.
Yeah.
Like I say, the culture has changed. You got a guy who made a living on special teams, so he cares about it more than anybody. And like I say, they actually went out and got guys that are special teams guys.
Not just the sixth wide receiver.
Exactly. Not because somebody that we drafted and we need to keep on the roster. We got guys that making a living in this NFL off of special teams. So I think that right there is going to drive the culture. So when you get out there, it's not just a play. It's the play that can change the game. If you got that mindset, which with the coach they have, I don't see why they wouldn't. I see because they already had a good returner in Jerome Ford, and well, I don't know if DPJ is still taking punt returns or not.
We'll see if Grant is still going to
exactly. So they already had the nice returners. They just didn't have good return, the blocking, or maybe the kickoff and punt was the two that bothered me the most.
Yeah, and punt especially. Like these days, kickoff. It's often you're doing a touchback.
They get the punt guy and he punt for 84 yards.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see that, but haven't heard anything about him being signed. All right, Mikey, what do you got?
We got some poll results for you, and we have a jingle from Eddie today on PCC. So I'm going to do the read. We'll play the jingle. We'll give you the poll results on which unit is better. But first, the results come to us from PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. I'll read you the results in a sec, but first, let's hear from Eddie.
So now I come to you with PCC.
That's the way you do that.
Nothing to hide. Believe what I say. So here I am with PCC. Hoping you'll see what your airfoils mean to me, PCC.
That was absolutely phenomenal.
Best out. Best yet.
I love that cheesy love song. It's one of my favorite songs.
Yes.
And Eddie that was his best ever.
Yeah,
Mike,
that was the best joint.
That was good. The results, by the way, over 400 votes here on the YouTube poll.
Yeah.
61% voted the offense will be the better unit in 2023.
Only 61%.
39% for the defense. So pretty split for the most part. When we do polls, it is very often, or very rarely, that close.